Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome back. Acting Chair Flores, you are live and recording.
Great, thank you. And just to know, I think the volume on your side is a little bit low.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if that's a function of the Zoom or of the computer you're logged on.
Okay, I'll try to adjust on my end.
That's much
Okay,
better,
this-
actually, already.
Okay,
Okay. Good morning, everyone. This meeting of the Agricultural Labor Relations Board is called to order at 10:02. I will call the roll. Board Member Broad,
Present.
Board Member Hall,
President.
Board Member Lightstone.
Present.
And I am also here, finally back from a vacation. Please let the record reflect that we have an in-person quorum in the Sacramento office. Also present from our staff for today's meeting is ALRB Executive Secretary Santiago Avila Gomez, who is providing technical support. We will start today with the open session portion of the meeting, and prior to going into closed session, we will provide an opportunity for public comment on any portion of the meeting. The first agenda item is approval of the meeting minutes from September 3rd, 2025. I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Board Member Broad moves, and I believe Board Member Hall is at a second.
That's
All
correct.
those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And I will abstain since I was not present at that meeting. Motion carries. The next agenda item is the acting chair's report. And I'd just like to note that yesterday Governor Newsom signed into law AB 288, granting the Public Employment Relations Board the authority to enforce private sector workers' rights under certain conditions. Included in the bill were amendments clarifying that AB 288 will not affect the jurisdiction of the ALRB. And that concludes my report. And any questions or thoughts? Seeing none, we will move to the next agenda item, which is the Executive Officer's Report on Elections, Unfair Labor Practice Complaints, and Hearings presented by Executive Officer Santiago Avila Gomez.
Thank you, and good morning again to you, Acting Chair Flores, members of the board, and everyone in the room. I see a few folks and folks on Zoom. So since our last board meeting, we've seen no election activity. However, with respect to complaints, there was one issued originally on September 23rd. However, due to some service issues, it was refiled on September 25th, and that involves Man Packing Company, Inc. and Dominguez Farms, Inc. Case number 2023 CE036 SAL. That involves the commodities of fresh vegetables, including broccolini in Monterey County. Sorry, I need to admit someone in the waiting room. All right. Returning to board administrative orders issued since our last meeting in Mucci Farms, Inc., also known as Mucci de Chappie, I'm not pronouncing that correctly, Inc., that issued on September 5th, 2025, and the citation is ALRB Admin Order Number 2025-13. They're the board order granting request for enforcement of general counsel's subpoena. Duces Tecum, and the case numbers 2025 CE 035 and 036. Finally, turning to pending matters before the board, there are two. The first is Abala Farms of Salinas LLC, case number 2021 CE 018-SAL, that involves two underlying board decisions. The first being 49 ALRB number 1, and the second 51 ALRB number 1. They're the regional director's motion to make the case eligible for payout from the Agricultural Employee Relief Fund and to close case was filed on September 15th of this year. Next, Trifanuki Farms, case number 2013 CE008 VIS and 2013 CE014 VIS. There, the decision and recommended order of administrative law judge issued, and I'm sorry, I don't have the issued date, but the exceptions are due December 22nd and reply briefs, if any, on December 22nd. I didn't say that right. It's November. Let me look up at my calendar here because it's Monday, November 24th that exceptions are due. I'll make the edit to the report that is found on the ALRB's website alongside our meeting notice. That concludes my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Santiago. Questions? Okay. The next agenda item is the litigation report presented by Chief Board Counsel Laura Hike.
Good morning. So I just have a couple of very brief things. In the consolidated matter in the U.S. District Court, Eastern District, California, involving wonderful nurseries, Olive Hill Greenhouses, and Western Growers. On September 8th, the plaintiffs filed their oppositions to the board's motion to dismiss. And then this past Monday, on September 29th, the ALRB filed replies to the plaintiff's opposition to the motion to dismiss. And currently, that matter is set for hearing on motion to dismiss is set for October 20th. So could be coming up soon. Watch this space. And then the only other item I have is in the consolidated matter in the 5th District Court of Appeal. Let's see, scroll to where my case number is. This is the matter also involving wonderful nurseries. That has been sort of quiet for a long time, but it's sort of come back to life. And I'll get you the case number in just a minute. Oh, it's case numbers F088515 and F088520. Our Attorney General's office is representing us in that matter, estimate that oral argument is going to be set for mid-November. We don't have a date certain yet, so I'll let you know as soon as we do, but the court has asked, the parties have already filed their time requests for oral argument. So we should see some movement in that by the next board meeting. We should have a date set for oral argument in those matters. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Laura. Questions? Okay, the next agenda item is the General Counsel's report with Julie Montgomery.
Good morning all and welcome back, Acting Chair Forrest. I have a couple of settlements to announce. First, I'm happy to report that our Region 1 staff settled Kind Farms, which involves a cannabis worker in Monterey County who filed a charge on January 6, 2023, and then amended it in May 2023, alleging that Kind Farms and Ultra Personnel LLC retaliated against her and her coworkers by changing work assignments, work conditions, and then ended their employment because they engaged in protected concerted activity by complaining about conditions of the restrooms, lack of protective equipment, and wage concerns. The parties reached a settlement with the ALRB in which Kind Farms and Ultra Personnel will pay the charging party and two co-workers $60,810 for back pay and $7,500 for payment in lieu of reinstatement. And there will also be the standard noticing remedies. So kudos to our staff in Region 1. I just want to especially acknowledge them for handling this and other cases for cannabis workers, which right now are just have a heightened level of challenge. Additionally, I will report on a case that was settled maybe a month or two ago, a couple of months ago, but it took us a little while to get the signatures of all the parties involved. So now I can actually report on it, which is Monterey Mushrooms and United Farm Workers. case, there were complaints against both labor organization of UFW as well as the company. And these charges and complaints involved former and current they're all former mushroom harvesters in Monterey County who filed various charges. And those charges span from the end of 2019 through the end of September 2022. And the charges against the UFW allege that the union breached its duty to fairly represent workers by not pursuing grievances, failing to address workplace issues at Monterey Mushrooms, and refusing to allow workers to register or dispatch them to the company because they participated in decertification efforts at another location, and that they also complained about the UFW's representation of workers. And the charges against Monterey Mushrooms allege that the UFW was its agent and that the company knew or should have known that the UFW was not allowing workers to register through the hire and haul or not dispatching them to Monterey Mushrooms because the workers participated in decertification efforts or complained about the UFW's representation of workers. And there were also a group of charges alleging that Monterey Mushrooms discriminated against employees by agreeing to allow some employees who worked at the related company Mushroom Farms Inc. to retain their seniority when they became Monterey Mushrooms employees based on union support, such that when Monterey Mushrooms conducted layoffs or rehires, some employees with more seniority were consequently discriminated against. The ALRB filed a consolidated complaint against both Monterey Mushrooms and the UFW for these various allegations. For various reasons, the hearing was delayed in the case. And in the meantime, Monterey Mushrooms closed its operations in December of 2024 and the UFW also closed its hire and haul that was for that employer, or that was the only hire and haul I believe they had in the area. And the ALRB, UFW, Monterey Mushrooms, and all of the charging parties did reach an informal bilateral settlement in which the respondents will pay a total of $250,000 to the charging parties and discriminatees. Noticing will occur through a mailing to former Monterey Mushrooms employees who worked during the relevant timeframes of these alleged violations, a reading to employees at the UFW Salinas office, and a posting of a notice at the UFW office. ALRB staff will also conduct a training for UFW supervisors and administrative staff at their Salinas office location. So those are the remedies that were received. And like I mentioned, because the company did close, that really did significantly limit the remedies that we were initially seeking in the case. But that is the settlement that the parties have reached, and it's an end to this long this long process. So I just really want to commend the staff in our Region 1 and other staff who worked on this case. It's been a lot of really diligent, hard work, and those efforts are sincerely appreciated. And then on to outreach, I'll just real briefly mention that our staff have been out and about at various community events all over the state. They've tabled and distributed materials at many different places, resource fairs. They partnered with EDD and Labor Commissioner's Office for various events to reach out to farm workers. And they were interviewed on KBBF Radio Líderes del Futuro program in Sonoma County last week. They also participated in a one-stop clinic hosted by the Central Valley Empowerment Network, held at the Center for Race and Poverty in Delano in Kern County. And that was in collaboration with our rural strategic engagement partners at Labor Commissioner. And so we had staff providing information and services to folks at that clinic. And that is one of many to come just through our Rural Strategic Engagement Program. I also had the pleasure of presenting at the California Worker, CWOP, California Worker Outreach Project, I believe that stands for. There were a large number of grantees from around the state who attended a virtual statewide convening last Tuesday. And I was able to present on the ALRB and what our services are and how we can better collaborate to get services to workers across the state. So that, I think, oh, and then our staff in Region 2 appeared at a 2025 Gala Getza celebration. It's an annual celebration in Fresno, hosted by CBDIO. And that was a wonderful Indigenous worker celebration. And I understand a lot of, that there were a lot of folks there, both from other agencies and then some people from the community that attended. And then we also had some staff go all the way up to the Oregon border to attend the Tule Lake Fair, sponsored by the Siskiyou County Department of Public Health. And I believe this is the third or fourth year that we've had staff travel all the way up there and reach workers in that very far-flung area of the state. And so that is a really significant investment of time to travel up there and back, but we feel it's absolutely necessary to make ourselves accessible statewide to folks. So again, kudos to our Region 2 staff who really are getting out there and helping to spread the word to workers about their rights. And with that, it concludes my report.
Thank you, Julie. Questions?
Yeah, I just want to, Madam Chair.
Yes. Board Member
Yeah,
Hall?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Julie, if you don't mind just conveying to all your staff our appreciation for their efforts. They're doing outstanding. I think, it'd be great to recognize them and let them.
Thank you so much, Board Member Hall. I will be sure to convey that and let everyone know that they've been specifically acknowledged at this meeting. That'll mean a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. All right. We do not have an administrative services report, a legislation report, nor a regulations report. And therefore, the next agenda item is public comment. Members of the public who have contacted the board either by email or phone and asked to be placed in the public comment queue will be called on in the order received. If you did not previously contact the board and wish to make a public comment, you may do so by raising your hand. We ask that you also provide your name and organization if applicable. This information will become a part of the official record of today's proceedings. If you wish to speak more than once, please alert staff and have your name placed back in the queue. If you have technical difficulties when you are called, please reach out to us via email and we will come back to you. Please be advised that the board is unable to adjudicate, comment, or resolve any pending case matter. And with that, I will ask our executive secretary to first go through the queue. If there's anybody in the queue. Santiago, do we have anyone that's expressed interest in making a comment?
Not at this time, but I'll call on the folks in our meeting to indicate they wish to make public comment by either raising their hand or actually using the chat feature for this one meeting. I do not see any hands raised nor any chat messages indicating they wish to make public comment at this time.
Okay, seeing none, the board will now recess into closed session. Thank you all.
And all yours.
Hello, the board has returned from closed session and our last agenda item is announcements. The next regularly scheduled board meeting is set for Wednesday, October 15th at 10 a.m. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Board Member Broad moves. Is there a second?
Second.
Board Member Lightstone seconds. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. And motion passes unanimously. The meeting is adjourned at 10:50. And thank you all for joining us and have a good day.